Glenn Clark Radio, talking about the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuff and things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
I know you've been asked this 100 times during the WBC, but how proud are you to wear that name across your chest and compete for a title?
Yeah, this is my first time being able to wear it on a team, so it's a very special event and moment for me, and I know for a lot of guys who's wearing it for the first time, so it's pretty cool, and we wear it with a lot of honor and a lot of respect.
Who are you playing for?
Honestly, all the those who've served and serving currently, and then also my grandfather, he passed away about a month ago, so playing for him, and this whole season's for him. So.
How proud would he be to see you with those letters across your chest in the title game?
Oh, he's I know he couldn't be more proud right now, so yeah, all this is playing for him.
I know you've been asked
It's
this
really
100
special,
times.
obviously, courtesy of Foul Territory and Fox Sports. Gunnar Henderson talking about what it means to him, and you can sense that, obviously, as they get ready tonight to play Venezuela. Had to come from behind, but they beat Italy in the semifinals, so it will be Venezuela taking on Team USA in the World Baseball Classic Championship this evening. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He is not Griffin still. Did not morph into Griffin overnight.
But I'm the other Grr.
The Grr. Fill in the Grr hole.
Ant.
He is Grant, yes. Make it a two-syllable name somehow. Grant back with us today. As mentioned, he'll be here all week. Appreciate him being here. I think it was, who was it that pointed out that both of the starters I think it was Steve Molesky maybe that pointed it out, both of the starters in the World Baseball Classic final are former Orioles draft picks.
Yeah.
Go figure. Eduardo Rodriguez. You remember that name?
I remember Andrew Miller, but
Yeah, you certainly remember.
that's why we remember
for
Eduardo
half a
here.
season, Andrew Miller. Eduardo Rodriguez, who we were all high on, and we all believed it was, giving up a legitimate price in order to get Andrew Miller, but we were all okay with that because Andrew Miller was the type of exact move that a contender should make to try to get him over the top. Unfortunately, there were some other issues that the Orioles ended up dealing with in 2014 that were a real shame.
It worked both ways for each team.
Well, I mean, Eduardo Rodriguez became the guy
World champion.
Yeah, he became the guy that we all thought he was going to be. He became a legitimate, high-level, major league pitcher and
For Boston.
the type of guy that the Orioles struggled to have. Now, again, this is one of those, you look back on the Jake Arrieta trade with great regret, right? And what Jake Arrieta ended up being in Chicago, it infuriates you. But as I've said a million times, where the Orioles were in that moment, they had been through it time in and time out and had no options left on Jake Arrieta and just couldn't keep throwing him out there and hoping that he was going to be that guy. And it sucks. It's a shame. But I don't look back and fault the Orioles for making the Jake Arrieta trade. If you want to question why it is that he wasn't able to develop in Baltimore the way that he ultimately developed in Chicago, I think that is a different conversation and one that could be had. But I don't fault them on the Jake Arrieta trade. In the same way, I don't fault the Orioles on making a move that absolutely helped up their chances of them winning the World Series when they were in a window to win the World Series. And some of the things that occurred as 2014 played out were very unfortunate for the Orioles' chances. But I don't fault them making that move. Eduardo Rodriguez turned out to be the type of guy the Orioles could have used. Now, again, if they were going to make all the same decisions and let Manny Machado or trade Manny Machado for nothing and, let all these guys walk after they realized it was going sideways, then I don't know how much it would have helped, because Eduardo Rodriguez's best seasons weren't until like 2018, 2019. And at that point, the Orioles window was closed. But yes, it's difficult that Eduardo Rodriguez went and succeeded somewhere else. And it's a name that I hadn't thought about it in a while until you saw that he was going to start tonight. On the flip side, it's really funny. I, as we've talked about Nolan McLean, I've almost completely forgotten. Like when Steve Molesky shared that this morning, I was like, oh, right. I legitimately had almost totally forgotten.
Cliff Lee all over again.
Yeah, sure. That's a good point. The Orioles did draft him in 2022, and he, instead of signing, went back to Oklahoma State. And I remember there was like confusion about whether or not he was going to be a pitcher or whether he was going to be a hitter. And if I remember correctly, he even went back to Oklahoma State to keep hitting, like that he wanted to continue to develop as a hitter, if I remember correctly, before ultimately obviously becoming a full-time pitcher, which clearly has worked out for him.
Yeah, seeing him try to hit Double-A, I was like, he's going to be a pitcher.
Yeah.
He's a pitcher.
That has proven to be a good decision for Nolan McLean, reaching
for him.
the bigs last year and pitching well in a short stint. So it's not Tarek Skubal taking on, it goes back to what I talk about. Although ironically, like Game 7 of the World Series is not always your best starting pitchers, but it's ironic that you have this international competition and these are the two starting pitchers for the game. But yes, sort of a neat side story that they were both one-time Orioles draft picks and guys that did not end up becoming Baltimore Orioles in Nolan McLean and Eduardo Rodriguez. So that'll be tonight, the World Baseball Classic final, after Venezuela topped Italy last night in the semis. Also, of course, tonight, UMBC opens the NCAA Tournament against Howard. Unfortunately, in the first four, it's the first of the two games this evening, so it should work out that if you watch the UMBC game, there should still be plenty of time remaining afterwards for you to flip over and watch a good bit of the World Baseball Classic final. I will be distracted, unfortunately, but not unfortunately. I love what I do, but I will be at Loyola tonight because they take on Georgetown. So that's where my attention will be early on in the evening.
Very good.
Here's what's coming up on the program today. In a few minutes, Brenda Frese will join us, talk about Maryland's 16th straight NCAA tournament appearance, her 22nd overall as the head coach of the Terrapins. Unfortunately, not hosting this time around as they were a 5 seed. They'll take on Murray State in the first round of the NCAA tournament, so we'll talk to Brenda Frese about that. Later on in the program, Storm Davis, 1983 World Series champion. He was elected to the Baltimore Orioles Hall of Fame. We will talk to him about that. And before we get out of here today, we'll meet Jude Bowry, former St. Francis offensive lineman. Had a very nice career at Boston College, and now he is a projected mid-round pick in the NFL draft. So we will talk to him about that process and that possibility that he could end up here in Baltimore. So that's what's coming up on a Tuesday edition of the program. Today's show is brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel. The Mania begins in just 2 days. And the best place to watch the early rounds is Inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. 100-foot media wall. Great food and drink specials. Incredible atmosphere. Fans rooting both ways. Everybody's got money riding on every shot. Living and dying. It's incredible And they're going to be doing interactive activities and giving away great prizes during the course of the games. The best place to be, if you have not, if like you've been planning on it, I'm going to go watch the games at the casino on Thursday, but you haven't reserved a table, I would just encourage you to think about that, because there's a lot of other people that are planning the way that you are. So I would encourage you to think about reserving that table at Sports and Social inside Live Casino and Hotel, so that you don't end up getting there and being disappointed about where it is that you've got to watch from. I would think about that immediately. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I should have said that earlier. Whatever you're doing, be safe. My God, please do not drink and drive tonight. Whatever it is, somebody would say, look at you in your green. Well, turns out I had to wear green today anyway because of work. But a perfect day to be on the evergreen campus of Loyola, which is where I look to be. Yes, Grant, it's fine. It's a Hallmark holiday. It's not.
It's in my car.
I just learned a few years ago the guy didn't even actually drive the snakes out of Ireland. The hell are we even celebrating? Like, what are we even doing here? There's a little bit of green in your Stevenson hoodie, is what you're pointing out. There you go. You got a little bit of
this counts, doesn't it?
Little bit of green in there. That's what you got. But happy St. Patrick's Day. Yes, please, whatever you do, be safe. That's what I ask. Be safe. Make a plan. If you're going out tonight, do not drink and drive. And the other thing, I got to get out of the way, we're only about halfway filled up. And the games start in 25 hours. 25 hours from now. No, I said that math wrong. 49 hours. Sorry. Nailed it. 25 plus 24.
What's the difference?
49 hours. The games start. And we are doing what we always do, which is a best of both worlds scenario. We both want you to win money in our bracket contest, and we want to take care of a great local charity in the process. The way we do that is with a 50-50 bracket pool. It's like when you go play the 50-50 at a baseball game. Half of the money goes to the winner. The other half of the money goes to the charity. In our case, it's Show Your Soft Side and the amazing work that they do for animals in our community, which is incredibly heroic. So we need you to step up. It's $20. KZ asked that I start calling you out by name today. I assure you, if I haven't heard from you, I'm calling you out by name tomorrow. That's happening. Spare me the, I'm not really into college basketball. Spare me the, I haven't really paid attention this season. I assure you, knowing who's won most years, our winners have not been college basketball people. They've just been people. Because it is dumb luck. That's what it is. Pick the games. Simple as that. Get in today. $20. And however many people play. Like if we have, I think we have about 24. I want to get to 50. Ideally, I like cutting it off at about 50 because I still want everyone to feel like it gives you a 2% chance of winning, right? Like I like that. So I'd ideally like to get to that number. But if we don't get to that number, then whatever the number ends up being, if 36 people play, then you'll be playing for $360, and we'll be donating $360 to Show Your Soft Side. And that's fine. I'll be happy to do that. That would make a great deal. And I say we, it ain't me, it's all of us. But I would like for that number to be $500. So it would make me very happy if come Thursday morning, I'm not freaking out anymore. I'm telling you, we did it. We got to the number that we wanted to get to, and we're donating $500 to Show Your Soft Side. So please, today, Venmo, Glenn-Clark. You know how to spell my name because you're here. It would be remarkable if you got here without that. Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal. We'll also get you in. Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App. If you need to do it another way, if you're a Zelle person or, I don't know, you want to send a carrier pigeon over with a $20 bill and its mouth, I don't know. We can talk about that. We can figure it out. Message me. You know how it works, glennclarkradio@gmail.com. If you get in and you don't hear from me very quickly, if you send your Venmo, send your PayPal, and you haven't heard from me within a couple of minutes, then, again, same thing. I would ask. Email glennclarkradio@gmail.com. That way I know who you are. I make sure you get in. I make sure everything's taken care of before the games tip off on Thursday. But today's a big day. We need to close the gap today. And tomorrow, what I'm going to threaten is, if we're not completely full, I'm going to have Drew Forrester come in here and derail the show. All right? That's my threat. You don't fill this thing up by tomorrow, then tomorrow's show is going to be lots of Forrester doing whatever the hell he's going to want to talk about. I don't know. The Players' Championship was this past week. He's going to want to talk about the video game golf. He's going to want to talk about whatever it is that he's going to want to talk about. And you know what? If you don't fill it up, I'm going to let him. I'm going to let him. God knows, he might just walk in here and want to talk to me about, like, the discography of the band Live. And I'm going to allow him to do that. And we won't talk any sports whatsoever, any real sports, if you guys don't fill this up. So that's all I'm asking for. All I'm asking for is you to make your donations so that we don't have to worry about any of those things. Capiche? Are we cool? Can we do that? And if you say, hey, I don't really care about the bracket, but I'd like to make a donation anyway, sure, we'll accept that. I promise you, whatever excuse you're thinking of to try to get out of it, I'm going to work around that. I'm going to meet you where you are because what I care about is helping out an amazing local charity. So that's where we're at. Hope that you will get involved with our bracket contest. Thank you very much. Obviously, the Orioles were rained out last night, so we have not seen the Orioles really for 2 days. I think they got a couple of innings in on Sunday. We haven't seen them, and they only have a few days left in spring training before they report back to Baltimore for an exhibition on Sunday and then D.C. on Monday ahead of opening day next Thursday. I know everybody's been enjoying seeing the pictures that have been going around of them putting the finishing touches on the scoreboard and all the various work they're doing that you'll be able to see officially for the first time 1 week from Thursday for opening day. So I'm enjoying those as well, I guess is all I can say. I have enjoyed seeing those things myself. All right. I feel like that's it as far as news is concerned. Again, continue to wait to see if there's any more moves coming for the Baltimore Ravens. Yesterday, we found out that Andrew Voorhees, who I know you all love, I know that's your guy, but we found out that Andrew Voorhees received the performance-based bonus. So he'll make a little bit more money, and I know that disappoints you, but I'm not as worked up about that as you are. Simply put, I am just not as worked up about how much money that Andrew Voorhees is going to be making. And I got this message from Dan that I wanted to respond to before. We're going to chat with Brenda Frese here in just a second. Dan said, Glenn, was listening to you yesterday about the World Baseball Classic. I understand everything that you're saying. Is it possible they could move it to the end of the year and then whatever innings pitchers have left in them, they would know that they could use whatever innings they have? Dan, no, is my simple answer. No. And it's no on twofold, right? The first no is when these guys get to the end of the year, I know that like you associate that Latin players go back and play in with their leagues, and that's very meaningful to them. But when these guys get to the end of the year, for the most part, like they're done. And they're done for some time. Like they are done, period, done. When in particular, the World Baseball Classic, part of the idea is to do it in March because it helps sort of get the excitement brewing for baseball. That if someone tunes into Fox on Sunday night and sees the game, that now their juices are flowing and they're ready for baseball. And so that you finish this event, and then next week there's opening day, and you're hoping you're adding to your audience that you would have had otherwise. Doing it at the end of the year, the World Baseball Classic would end, and then you would be saying, hey, please remember that this thing happened that you liked and come back and join us again in 3 months. So for multiple reasons, Dan, the answer is no. That's not going to be the way that it's going to work with the World Baseball Classic. They're going to keep doing it now. And again, the only real question is going to be, do they let the players participate in the Olympics in 2028? And you hear more and more of them suggesting that they want to do that. And so I think it's more and more plausible. I still think it's going to be very difficult for major league teams to shut the season down for 2 weeks in the middle of July. And even then, it's still going to be a very similar story to this, which is going to be there's going to have to be a limit. Like, yes, the guys might be more ramped up at that point, but there's still going to have to be a limit. All right, is Brenda there? Brenda Frese is the head coach at the University of Maryland, and they are getting ready for their 16th consecutive NCAA tournament, which is truly remarkable. She is back with us this morning here on GCR. Coach, it's Glenn. It's always great to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Hey, Glenn. Thanks for having me. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It sure is. Brenda, you guys took an interesting path, right, to this point this year. and there was, I know you went through a lot injury-wise, but there was a stretch, obviously, in the middle of the season where things were looking a little perilous. What happened? What did you learn during that losing streak that lifted your team up to go get some critical, like, road wins over really good teams down the stretch? What did that stretch of losing do to get you guys sort of back on track and ready to go going into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I credit this team. I mean, their backs were against the wall. I mean, at one point it looked like they might not even make the NCAA tournament. I mean, our Big Ten conference slate is just, it's a gauntlet. It's really, really tough. Every team can play from top to bottom, but I think they learned that they can do really hard things. This is a group that is really, really resilient. They've never used the injuries as an excuse. All they've ever done is let's try to learn, let's get better from this, and how can we fix it? And it's just been a rewarding year for us as coaches, just to be in the gym and you be along this journey with them, because it's a group that just comes ready to work, wants to be as good as they can possibly be, and just really happy for them to see their name called and the NCAA tournament. I'm excited to see, how it's all going to unfold.
Did you sense that they kind of took it personally? Like, we're better than this is Maryland basketball. I just referenced we're 16 straight NCAA tournaments, right? Like, did you sense that they kind of took it personally?
They really did. I mean, when after we had lost the 4 straight, and we were right there with all of them. I mean, we had a double overtime loss and with Washington, overtime loss with Iowa. A lot of games, and then we had to go on the road to Michigan State after losing 4, and you just saw their personality, that they weren't going to be denied. They understood and wanted to put it all together, and then you go on and you beat Michigan State. You go on, you're down 20-some to Ohio State on the road and come back and beat them. So it's really exciting that this group, we have a small margin for error, but at the same point, when they're lined up together, anything's possible.
Coach, you have not had to go on the road to start the NCAA tournament very often during the course of your tenure. I'm sure. I guess let's start there, right? Were you disappointed, knowing how good the Big Ten is? Were you disappointed that the committee didn't end up giving you a top 4 seed?
I think a lot of things. Disappointed for our fans, optimistic that our fans can still travel and get down to a familiar location in Chapel Hill, and they know it well from our ACC days. But it felt like they engaged more on conference tournaments versus your body of work. But again, I'm not in those rooms. We had a 14 net, we had 6 quad 1 wins, no quad 2 or below losses. So, you still felt like those things were in our body of work, but we lost 2 of our last 3. And so, when you talk about your finish, our conference is really, really tough. I think if we beat Oregon in the conference tournament, we're probably hosting, but that was within our control. And unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be in that game. So all we can control now is what lies ahead. I love our bracket. Really excited about that opportunity for us. Although now we're going against a really good Murray State team
Yep.
that's won 15 straight games in a row and really well coached and really talented players. But that's what you're going to see in the NCAA tournament. And maybe we can take a chip, have a chip on our shoulders of that missed opportunity and turn that into a positive opportunity now as we go on the road.
Brenda Frese is with us here on GCR, getting ready for her 22nd NCAA tournament appearance as the head coach at Maryland. Coach, you referenced that, and I wanted to ask, like, what are the, what makes it more difficult, and what might be like an advantage? And there is a part of me that wonders if, like, players just getting away from a home, that there is some sort of advantage that comes along with that. And you point out it's a good Murray State team. There's no doubt about that. That is precarious, but is there any part of you that's like, hey, maybe there is something to be said for getting away and not having some of the distractions that maybe you have when you're playing at home?
There absolutely is. I mean, sometimes, although you love having your fans, I mean,
Yeah.
they were the X factor for us last year with the double overtime win against Alabama. Every team is built differently, and I will say this team plays really well on the road. They've shown that this season. There are a lot less distractions when you go on the road and it's just you. And honestly, it's the pressure is on the home team. If we get that opportunity and both teams win and you're playing North Carolina, like they're supposed to win. They're the 4 seed, we're the 5. So, I think there's a lot of good things in play. But at the end of the day, I always say it's just a building. Whether you're at home or you're on the road, you got to play the right way to win in advance, and that building doesn't give you an automatic pass. So we just want to be playing our best basketball. I know we're having our best practices, leading up to this, which is exciting, and now we're just going to go give it our best.
You mentioned the history with North Carolina, but particularly I'm thinking about like 2006 and a game that was played at North Carolina, and one of the wildest. You mentioned the game last year in the tournament, which probably has to be the wildest game that you've ever been a part of. But I don't know, that win at Carolina in 2006, for those that don't remember, just getting to overtime kind of took a miracle. Do you have like some good vibes about going back to that building and some of the memories of that? And like obviously Ashley's unbelievable shot that got you to overtime back then.
Yeah, I do. I love coaching there. It's a small, intimate arena, so it'll be packed. It'll be great. Like you said, that overtime win with Ashley Newman, for those that saw it and had to heave a shot for it to go in, and Alyssa Thomas had a win for us there that she was able to make some plays. So a lot of great things have happened where, from my end, I remember our players on this current roster, none of them were there then.
Right.
None of that matters to them. I'll give them the history, but in the same vein, like, they've got to go in and be playing their best basketball.
You say that obviously, but you guys have also been celebrating, of course, the 20th anniversary this year. I remember talking to Sasho in the fall about how he felt like some of that celebration kind of rubbed off a little bit on the current team and like wanting to live up to that standard. Did you feel any of that as you guys were celebrating that this year, that like this team kind of took any of that with them? Like, hey, that's where we want to be.
Yeah, no question. I mean, our locker room is full of competitors and winners, and I think that standard of excellence, understanding leaving your mark within your own team, and each year with a new roster. And I know that celebration. I mean, our players were involved in a lot of the events and the dinner, and got to spend a lot of time around that '06 team. So they gained a lot of invaluable insights from them over that weekend that they absolutely loved being able to carry over this season.
Brenda, who is it that, like, what they had to do this year in order to step up because of like, when you lose someone like Kayleen, like, that's such a massive thing to have to deal with. Whose role changed the most that, like, gives you the most pride in what they were called upon to do that maybe wasn't the plan going into this season, and what it's meant for your team?
I think a couple things. I mean, I think the unknown with Aluchi Okanawa coming in, you just didn't know, whether she would be able to carry a team. She wasn't asked to do that at Duke, and honestly, she was coming off the bench. So I think seeing her want that responsibility, the elites best of the best, the elites here, the greats, they want to shoulder that responsibility. So I think that's been pretty special to be able to see. We already knew what Yarden could do in Sailor, but Alucci has consistently, been able to show that. And then second, I'd say just the growth of our bench. We needed to have that bench play really grow and improve, and it's a lot of freshmen that are coming off the bench, and I think they've done a phenomenal job staying the course, staying resilient, and honestly being able to be counted on in this day and age. It's a lot of older players that are now playing, and I think they've done a phenomenal job just gaining that experience throughout the season.
I wanted to bring up one of those, and I know we've talked about it before. You know that like Baltimore kids mean more to us. It's just the way that it goes. But like the Mir's story is so cool to me, and there's so much hype, and it can be humbling, right? To like go through having all that attention and not working out. But what she has turned out to be as a valuable role player for your team. From where she was, can you kind of put that into words? Because it to me is just such a cool story of like perseverance for an athlete.
It really is, and the journey, right? I mean, she hasn't had an easy path, and through her journey of different schools, injuries that have taken away some of her time, and just I think to stay the course. And I'll say this: as good of a basketball player she is off the court, this young woman is just going to do amazing things in international business and relations and whatever she decides to do in the 7 languages that she speaks. But I think for us, like, she's been a huge piece of just continuing to get in the gym and work, and whatever this team needs her to do, she's going to do. And to see her having her best season, in her last year, is what it's all about. I mean, just of her path and her perseverance of just staying the course, and she's a winner and doing anything she can do to help this team win.
Now wait a second. When you're like getting after them in practice, she doesn't ever like turn to one of those other different languages to try to say something back because she counts that you don't understand what she's saying, right? Like you don't ever have to deal with that, do you?
She may, just not to my knowledge, but I think it's so cool. When we've had our international players come in, she wants to learn their language. I mean, she wants to make
cool.
them feel comfortable. She's been on the lead. It's just it's cool. She's got her future is so bright, and whatever she's gonna do. I mean, she speaks Arabic, and
Wow.
like I said, 6 other different languages, and is just a star both on and off the court.
And I wanted to bring up another, local kid because you already mentioned Sailor. Obviously, is she's coming down to the end of her career, and what she has meant to your program since she arrived, and everything that she's been through in her life, and the way that's kind of all come around for her, and having to finish her college career the way that she's had.
Yeah, really full circle moment for Sailor, for Mir being able to come back home. And Sailor was someone that I was her first offer when she was in middle school or junior high when that first offer came through. And so to have her last 2 years come back here with her family and her friends, and again, Sailor would give you the shirt off her back. I mean, she's just a giver. She is there for anyone and everyone, morning, noon, and night. And again, someone that I'm not worried about, of what her future looks like with basketball and after basketball. I mean, she's going to be another success story, but she's meant so much to our program, of that glue, that connector, that one of 3 captains, her and Mir and Yardan, of just really connecting our team as seniors.
It's awesome. It's an awesome story, and special people. You mentioned it, Murray State. What should everybody know about what you're up against on Friday?
Well, it's going to be an offensive firepower game. I mean, both teams love to score it. They're number 5 in the country, averaging 86 points a game. They've won 15 straight games, so they clearly know how to win and have had a lot of success. Really well coached, and they lead the country in free throws made. So you gotta defend the 3. If you defend the 3, then they're gonna go try to draw fouls and get to the free throw line. So dangerous matchup, but for us, we're the beautiful thing is defense travels, so we were going to have to bring our defense to be able to make their offense, have to play a little bit under duress. And then at the same point, we need to bring our offense and do what we do.
And then I'll wrap with this, Coach. Like 16 straight NCAA tournaments. I know that you've done amazing things and won championships, national championships, conference championships. But what does that mean to you about what Maryland basketball is and 22 in your tenure, like everything that you want to accomplish when you arrived at Maryland? What do those numbers mean to you?
It's just consistency. I think that's the thing I'm most proud of. And in this day and age, as hard as it is with the ever-changing landscape, I think that's the thing I'm most proud of for our staff and for our team, is that year in and year out, you can count on Maryland, and we're going to be there all the way to the end. And I know we make it look easy, but it's not. If at anything point when we were, had lost four games, we could have been on the bubble. But just, really proud that we've been able to sustain that level of consistency. The credit goes to the players. They have to put in the work to be able to get us there. But again, a lot of programs aren't doing that. So I'm never going to take it for granted. It's really hard to do, but really proud that we've been able to sustain that level of excellence with Maryland on the chest, the state of Maryland, our flagship program, to be in the NCAA tournament. I'll never take for granted.
Friday, 3 o'clock, ESPNU, Maryland taking on Murray State in the opening round. And who knows? I'll speak it into existence. It could be a really special one on Sunday if everything goes the way it's supposed to be going. Coach, congratulations on a great season. Best of luck, and hopefully we're talking more as you continue to move towards perhaps a Final Four appearance again. Thank you for spending time with us as always.
Thank you so much. Go Terps.
It's Brenda Frese, Maryland basketball coach. Again, they're getting ready for Murray State in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and always appreciate her taking the time for us. As it is remarkable, and I think I'm glad she used that word, consistency. It is a remarkable thing to reach 16 consecutive NCAA tournaments. That is truly an amazing accomplishment, and we will see how far it goes. Today's show brought to you by CountySports.Zone. The weather forced a schedule change in the basketball championship games, so they will be playing until Wednesday. So you need to know what the schedule looks like now. Maybe you have an opportunity to get to a game at UMBC. Go to CountySports.Zone. That's CountySports.Zone, which is proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, and find the remaining schedule for championship games after the weather forced them to move. And I know everybody's mad because the storms weren't stormy enough last night. By the way, that's a good thing. We were prepared. It wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. Those are good things. I stand by that. We are kind of twisted. But they had to make the changes because schools closed early. That's just the way that it works. So, again, you can go find out right now by going to CountySports.Zone. That's CountySports.Zone. Go there and find the remaining schedule for championship weekend. Speaking of storms not being stormy enough, I know our next storm is going to be stormy. We'll take a break first, Grant. Look, it's all right. As Orioles legend Storm Davis will join us next and talk about his upcoming induction to the Orioles Hall of Fame as we continue along on a Tuesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
This is Stan the Fan. You know we talk all the time about our O's stepping up in the big moments, delivering when it matters most. If you've been injured in a car accident anywhere around Baltimore, that's your big moment, and you need someone who delivers. That's why I'm here to tell you about Warnken Injury Lawyers. They fight for Baltimore families every single day. Insurance companies play games. Warnken plays to win. So call 443-RESULTS. That's 443-RESULTS, or go to warnkenlaw.com. When you need results, it's right there in the number, 443-RESULTS.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, ICAR Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website CostasInn.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of PressBox is available now. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg chats with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. about his life now at the age of 65, his role with the Orioles ownership group, and much more. Also inside, Bill Ordine helps us learn more about new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Luke Jackson finds out about new Orioles slugger Pete Alonso from those who have played with him, and we meet college lacrosse players from programs all across the area. PressBox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
March Mania is on at Live Casino. And you can get a front row seat for all the action at Sports and Social. Raise your game with massive wall-to-wall TVs. And raise a cheer with your favorite beers, cocktails, and an all-star menu. Best of all, you could win huge prizes every game. Don't get benched. Book your table at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right. Hey. Things are going very smoothly over here. So you're not hearing this live. Obviously, if you're hearing this, it's later on in the day. So what you don't know is that we were doing a show. Everything was going swimmingly. We had this great interview with Brenda Frese, and Grant was getting ready to call Storm Davis. And then apparently Grant broke the studio. Thanks a lot, Grant.
I corrupted the system. I planned on this since last week.
This was always part of your grand plan. Your Grant plan was to do this. Griffin goes away for one day, and Grant's like, I'm sabotaging the whole thing.
You brought the wrong Gur in today.
God. This guy, they don't pay me enough. I'm sabotaging the whole damn thing. Think you can keep doing Glenn Clark Radio? Some sort of internet outage in the area, and unfortunately that impacts a lot of things that we do. When there's an internet outage, not only can we not broadcast, and it's greater than just a simple internet outage, because we attempted to use some of our backup internet plans to get back online, and those didn't work either. So we were just sort of left here doing nothing at all. We were supposed to be chatting with Storm Davis. I talked to Storm, very kind man, love Storm. He said, we can talk tomorrow, no problem. So I appreciate that from Storm Davis. And we're still going to talk to Jude Bowry, because here's the dirty little secret. We already talked to Jude Bowry. We pre-recorded that. So you're still going to hear that, and then we're just going to talk to Storm Davis tomorrow. So all's good. All's good in that department, and we still had a nice full show today. As it turns out, it just didn't go exactly the way that we planned for it to go. Again, thanks a lot, Grant. Thank you so much for coming in here and screwing it all up. Really appreciate you.
Maryland, you're welcome.
I
love you all.
Yeah. Today's show is also brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. I bet the Stan the Fan show works. I bet when he wants to do a show, everything's working just fine for Stan.
Because I'm not there for it.
It's true. You don't have the ability to screw it up in the process. It's real weird how it all works out, that it's me when the problems occur. But whenever Stan is on with you, he's always brought to you by the Costas Inn with 2 great locations, the OG in Dundalk and, of course, the new one in Timonium at the fairgrounds. We love the Costas Inn. We will eternally love the Costas Inn. What is there ever not to love about the Costas Inn? It is the best. So why don't we do this, Grant? I say we do Tidbit, then we'll take a break. No, maybe we do Tidbit and 2, but then we'll take a break and we'll talk to Jude Bowry, all right? That's going to be how we move things along on the fly. So Tidbit is what we're doing now, and Tidbit is brought to you by this print issue of Press Box, which is available for free at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores, anywhere around town where you find Press Box, and you can read it along for free at PressBoxOnline.com. Cal Ripken's on the cover, not Carl Ripken, as TBS said once upon a time. Cal Ripken. You know him, the Iron Man. He's 65 now, and Dave Ginsburg did a great story about his life at this point and his role with the Orioles ownership group. You can go find that, as I mentioned, at your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores today. Grant, what do you have for Tidbit?
Well, before I destroyed our studio.
Before you wrecked everything. You knocked out all of the internet in Towson.
All right, I was kind enough to write down our tidbit before I knocked everything out.
Thank you. That was good of you.
I'm fine. I'm polite.
By the way, if Griffin were in this position, he'd be effing panicked because his tidbits are always something that he liked on Twitter.
He pulled it.
That's all he does. He just likes something on Twitter and says, I'm going to make that my tidbit tomorrow. And so if he were in this spot where the internet had gone down, I said, Griffin, it's time to do tidbit. He would have said, who are the teams playing in the World Baseball Classic final tonight? That's the way it would have gone because he would not have been able to access his tidbit. All right, you've got it, though. What do you got?
Well, tonight is the big championship game between USA and Venezuela. 3 years ago, it was between USA and Japan, and we know that Japan came on top. The big
the Mike Trout versus
David
Shohei Ohtani. Yeah,
Yep.
David versus. That's not bad.
David.
Did you come up with that on your own?
Just on the spot, yeah.
That's not bad, Grant. You're going places. David versus David is pretty good. It's Shohei versus Trout at the end of the game.
All right. Well, we already know one guy in the lineup. Can you name me the rest of the starting? Well, if you include the DH, the starting 10
for the U.S.
Yep.
In 2022.
I'm not even going to start with Japan. It's impossible. But USA is possible.
You know, it's funny, right? Like I 2022. So I'm just going to be
33.
It was 2023. Sorry. Okay. So Mike Trout, as we mentioned,
is batting second to center and was the final out.
Mookie Betts
is batting leadoff in right field before he fully converted to shortstop. Still don't know why, but all right.
Yeah, I'm not going to get this in order. I'm going to make that abundantly clear. That's
you don't
not,
have. You don't have to. You don't have
going to happen.
You don't have to get in order. Just go through the names.
It's just ironic that those are the two. Who would the catcher of that team been? I don't know because that's before Adley. It's not really. It's not before, but it's before Adley. Adley wasn't like a star yet.
He wouldn't have gotten the call that early.
Was Pete Alonso on that team?
He was not. He's not in the lineup.
Damn.
He's not in the lineup. No.
Goldschmidt.
Goldie is batting third at first. There are a couple. You've gone through one already. There are a couple returners on this year's team. The catcher is not one.
The catcher is not one. Man, I am struggling with who would have been in the infield for this team. Would Nolan Arenado have been on this team?
Yeah.
Okay.
Batting fourth at third base, the quote-unquote. Now, what team's he on now? Was he Puerto Rico this year?
Is he?
Yeah, he didn't. He wasn't USA this year.
I didn't know that he was playing for somebody else, though. I had no idea that was the case. I didn't know that.
He went to Puerto Rico this year.
So I need a second baseman and a shortstop.
Yes.
God damn.
The second base one might stump you. Because you'd be surprised if this guy even got an invite. Well, coming off a batting title a couple years ago, yeah, not surprised he got the call. But now you look at him. Yeah, you'd be like, who got the call?
Is that Tim Anderson?
Yep.
Wow.
A couple months before he threw that famous, before he got clocked in the face.
Yeah, we could have been here for a while, and I would have struggled on Tim Anderson. All right, and then
There's your hour-long show.
Right? A shortstop for that team. A shortstop.
Didn't get invited this year.
Didn't give Trevor Story.
No. That's a good guess, though.
Shortstop for that team that didn't get invited this year. That doesn't go back long enough that it could be like a Jimmy Rollins. We got to go back.
This was way past J-Roll.
A shortstop. Damn. And that's before Bobby Witt.
Around the same time, but again, Bobby Witt's too young to get the call.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, everybody else that I'm thinking of wouldn't be an American. All right, you're going to have to give me something to help me out on a shortstop.
He had a grand slam a few games prior against Venezuela.
Ask me to remember something that happened in the World Baseball Classic besides Shohei versus Mike Trout. Come on, dog. You're never getting me there with that.
First year of a long-term deal with the Phillies.
First year of a long-term deal with the Phillies. Turner?
Yep, Trey Turner.
Huh. I guess that makes sense, actually. I guess that would have been probably a good guess. I don't know why I didn't come up with that. All right.
Oh, I didn't want to say anything, but
so I need a catcher still.
You need a catcher, you need a DH, and a left fielder.
A catcher, a DH,
and a starting pitcher, pardon me.
Cedric was on that team,
wasn't
he?
eighth and left. He got in the game.
Recent guest of GCR, one of my favorite human beings of all time.
I did see that.
God, I love Cedric Mullins. Will always love. It's going to be so difficult. I hope I don't go to any Rays game against the Orioles this year because, it would be very difficult for me to. If Cedric Mullins does something, I'm going to celebrate it. It's just the way it's going to go.
Over or under a minute for that ovation?
Oh, God.
Well over.
I mean, it should be I'm not trying to pretend like Cedric. Cedric wasn't Adam, but man, it definitely will be. He was beloved. He was a beloved figure here. All right, so I need another. I don't need another outfielder. I need a DH and a catcher, right?
And a pitcher. Yep.
And a pitcher. A DH, a catcher. And a pitcher.
I might have to help you with the starting pitcher. I'm not gonna lie.
You might have to help me with a catcher.
Really?
I don't know why I'm not. I mean, I get Will Smith.
Nope. He's Trey Turner's teammate right now.
Oh, Real Muto.
JT Realmuto.
That makes sense.
As is the DH.
It's got to be Schwarber, right?
He repeated this year, yep. This is where I may need to help you. Yeah. I was surprised to see this guy starting pitching in the in the championship game. Do you want help or you want the answer?
So if it's something I'm going to be surprised by, because I was just going to go through Scherzer, Kershaw, somebody I'd be surprised by that was pitching in the championship game. Kind of like Nolan McLean this time around. Yeah, I mean, I might need something. I don't know.
Almost won a World Series with the Diamondbacks.
Almost won a World Series with the Diamondbacks.
Think about the 1 through 3 in their rotation. 3 years? Yeah, 3 years ago.
Merrill Kelly?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I was like.
All right. Yeah, we could have been here for a while before I would have guessed Merrill Kelly.
Because you would have thought Scherzer, you would have thought.
Oh, yeah,
somebody
all the
back
big
then.
dogs, yes.
Kershaw, not Merrill Kelly.
Yes.
But it was Merrill Kelly.
Correct. That's wild. That is wild. All right, very good. That's a good tidbit. I appreciate that. Now, how about we get totally tubular?
Have you ever thought of taking a cruise to these wonderful destinations with sunny skies and beautiful beaches? Well, wait no longer. We're ready for you to cruise from the Cruise Maryland Terminal.
Have a little phrase that you can go from baggage to margarita in about 15 minutes.
Choose fun with an array of destinations, onboard activities, entertainment, and world-class cuisine.
Contact your travel agent and book your cruise today. Let your adventure begin.
Kind of makes me want to go on a cruise, if I'm being honest with you. Kind of makes me think, why are we here?
Jerry
breaking the
Coleman.
internet?
Jerry Coleman went on one. He didn't invite me.
Well,
he didn't invite
hang
you.
on. I definitely don't want to go on that cruise. We're going to pick a different cruise. Love you, buddy. Going to pick a different cruise. Here's what's coming up tonight, totally tubular-wise. I guess I need to pull that up on the... Thankfully, the phone is still working, so because I would have been in the same boat that Griffin would have been when it came to tubular. Here's what's coming up tonight, and it is a big night, as we mentioned earlier in the show. UMBC, Howard, 6:40 in the NCAA Tournament, first four out in Dayton. That's on True TV. The other game tonight is Texas-NC State at 9:15. There is an audio-only broadcast for Orioles-Tigers this afternoon, and you have to be an MLB TV subscriber for it. Chris Bassett, Justin Verlander, that was what it was yesterday. I do wonder if for any reason they changed that because of the rainout, so I'm going to live check this. This was not the way that today was supposed to go. Orioles' probable pitchers would tell me that it is indeed still Chris Bassett and Justin Verlander, the pitching matchup for today. Orioles-Tigers as they get back at it down, not in Sarasota. Where do Tigers play? They're in Lakeland, I think, maybe?
That sounds right, Lakeland.
ESPN Plus, Georgetown Loyola at 6 o'clock. That'll be a good one. And then, as we've been talking about, the World Baseball Classic final is on Fox, Venezuela, and the U.S. at 8. Everything else, you can go to glennclarkradio.com and find it there. When we come back in, we will put the finishing touches on the show and chat with Jude Bowry, St. Francis alum, Boston College offensive tackle, and someone who's getting ready to hear his name called in the NFL draft. That's not what we were looking for. That's not what we were doing. You need to hit pause on that because we got one more break to take. And then after we take that break, we will chat with Jude Bowry. That's on the way. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
March Mania is on at Live Casino. And you can get a front row seat for all the action at Sports and Social. Raise your game with massive wall-to-wall TVs. And raise a cheer with your favorite beers, cocktails, and an all-star menu. Best of all, you could win huge prizes every game. Don't get benched. Book your table at Live Casino. At Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with two great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, costasin.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
This is Byron Warnkin. If you've been injured in a car or truck crash, you probably know this is stressful. Medical bills, the insurance company giving you the runaround, you got to get your car fixed. You don't just need a lawyer, you need results. At Warnkin LLC, we represent the injured across Maryland. Whether it's a car or truck crash case, medical malpractice, or any other serious personal injury, we fight for maximum compensation for you and maximum ease for you. You don't want to have to deal with this stuff. Warnkin LLC has been voted best personal injury law firm in Maryland for a reason. For us, 443 Results isn't just a phone number, it's our mission. Get the advocate that you need. Call us today, 443 Results, or visit us online, warnkinlaw.com. That's WARNKENLAW.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, you want to try to put us back on live to wrap it up, Grant? You can attempt to if you want. No, we're back on the audio. Yeah. You want to try to throw us back on live on it might be too difficult to do it video-wise, unfortunately. We might lose the recording in that process. We'll just keep what we've got. It's fine. We'll keep it doing it this way. Hi, we had an adventure today. And apologies that it worked out that way. But such is technology. Such is the case. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to thank everybody that made today's show possible. Thanks to Brenda Frese for joining us. Thanks to Jude Bowry, who you're about to hear from. We're going to get those things up in the greatest hits section of the, you know what, I never told you what the new thing is. Archives. You can do archives again if you like. I kind of like archives. Do archives.
Just say archives?
Archive.
Oh.
Yeah, do that.
Archives.
There we go. Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Storm Davis is going to join us tomorrow. That's going to happen. We're going to do that. Drew Forrester will join us tomorrow. And as I said, if you don't fill up the bracket contest, he's taken over the show. We're doing what he wants to do. And I don't want to do that. It's going to be hell for me.
I don't know. I'm a Drew fan.
God, why do people say that? You and Griffin's brother loves Drew, and there's somebody else that's always like, oh, God, I know Chris Erich is a Drew fan. And there's somebody else who's always like, dude, I can't listen every day, but I always listen when Drew's in. I'm like, no, pick a different day. Tuesdays. Well, not this Tuesday because it was all over the place. But other Tuesdays. Don't encourage him. But that's the deal. You don't fill up the bracket contest, nothing but Drew tomorrow and what he wants to do. And Storm Davis, who's going to join us tomorrow. That's going to happen for sure. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, the Costas Inn, your Baltimore area highest area stores, Leading Edge Auto Body, Warnkin Law, Cruise Maryland, 1-800-GAMBLER, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Quigley's Half Irish Pub, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin and thanks to Grant. You can follow Grant on Instagram.
20G to Vivo.
When he's not busy sabotaging everything that we do here.
I know that.
The
it was
entire
nice.
company.
It was nice knowing everybody here. That's probably going to be my last day.
Might be
I got to go. Got to run.
Might be it. If you're interested in producing the show tomorrow, please get in touch with me. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Tuesday night. Go UMBC. Go Loyola Lacrosse. And sure, go US. I don't really care, but, they're playing it, so by all means, right? Go ahead and win it. Have a great Tuesday night. Duke sucks. We wrap up today's show. As I mentioned, I had to do this a little bit earlier on, but an opportunity to catch up with the St. Francis alum who's about to hear his name called in the NFL draft. He is Jude Bowry from Boston College right here on GCR. We're getting ready for the NFL draft and meeting some of the members of this year's draft class. And as you know, we particularly like to catch up with the guys who are from here, who are going to be hearing their names called. And our next guest is a Germantown native, so he's a Maryland native, by way of St. Francis Academy, where he was part of some very special teams. He is now getting ready for the NFL draft after a very successful career at Boston College. He's offensive lineman Jude Bowry, and he's with us now here on GCR. Jude, it's Glenn in Baltimore. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time for us.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you having me on, man. Maryland, Maryland got to help out Maryland.
Hey, man, and I actually had the opportunity to call some of your games when you were at St. Francis, and I got to tell you, dude, you've always impressed me. But, where did your insane athleticism come from? Because dudes your size aren't always the athletic freak that you are. Where did that happen for you?
I think I got to give it to my parents, man, especially my mom. She plays soccer. when she was younger. And, you know, growing up, I was playing all types of sports, you know, with my brothers. So I got to give it to my mom, honestly. My dad, too. You know, my dad played football, so, yeah, both my parents very athletic, so I give credit to them.
When did you realize, like, when in your life did it, like, strike you, like, this is what I want to do? I'm a little bit bigger than everybody else. Like, I got a chance to do this, like, at a high level. Was there a moment for you?
I mean, ever since I was young, I always wanted to play pro sports. For me, at first, it was basketball. And then, you know, my sophomore year in high school, I was just like, you know, let me try football. Went out there, you know, started out as a defensive end, and I fell in love with it from then.
Man, it's working out for you, so I'm glad that was the case. Jude, tell me about ending up at St. Francis, right? Like, what was the thought process for you? Why was that where you wanted to be? And I don't know that everybody still understands what a unique experience it is. And being in that part of Baltimore, in a place that small, like, what did it do for you on the field, and what did it do for you to kind of help improve you as a man?
I mean, first, like, you know, St. Francis is one of the best schools in the country as far as, like, you know, academics and football. Like, you know, it was top 4 last year. So for me, it was, I knew I had to compete at a high level, and I wanted to compete at a high level. So I started off early in high school, and then it just helped me also. It was like a college away from college. Like, I was boarding up there in Baltimore during the week, and then I would go home on the weekends. So it just kind of prepared me to live on my own and also, you know, be a better football player.
I mean, did you pick up any of that ball? I'm sure you know from, like, the guys that were on the team that were Baltimore kids, there is a chip on the shoulder mentality that comes from, like, kids in our. Did you pick up more of that during the time that you were at St. Francis?
Oh, definitely, for sure. It made me, you know, it made me have the mindset of I got to go get everything I want.
Yeah.
And, you know, nobody's going to give it to me. So, you know, it just instilled the work ethic of just working hard at everything I do.
Hey, man, it can only pay off for you moving forward. That's a great thing. Jude Bowry is with us as he's getting ready for the NFL draft. Jude, not only the decision to go to Boston College, right, but, like, what really jumps out at me now is guys that choose to stay. And obviously in your circumstances, staying through changes, staying through, you know, a lot of time, right? Why was that the case for you? And how much do you think that's paying off for you now as you make this jump to the NFL?
I mean, for me, like, I'm a big man of faith, so, you know, I prayed about it, talked to my mom about it, and, you know, Boston College is you know, a great school for offensive linemen. And, you know, we produce plenty of offensive linemen in the NFL.